Hi everyone, welcome to an episode of Teed Up. This is an interesting one because it's currently being recorded at nearly 11:30 p.m. on Tuesday, the 11th of January, and a few things I want to go through. So there's going to be a little bit of top shot in this. Starting off with though, there's a lot of things I want to talk about with the Orlando Magic. So first things first. Orlando, as of right now, are sitting rock bottom in the NBA. It is no surprise to me. I am intending to do a video that's going to be like the halfway review of the season. I'll look at that specifically for the Magic, but I'll probably do a one as well, which will be a general coverage of the NBA about who's where. I might call back in on some predictions that I made before the season tipped off. But as of right now, I'm not totally surprised, but we are sat with a record of 7 wins and 34 losses, which isn't great. But I think a bit more grim than that is when we look at the last 10 games, we've won 1 and we've lost 9 straight. It hasn't been helped by injury and it hasn't been helped by COVID. That's got to be said. The Magic, the last 2 games really are ones I think are worth talking about. First of all, if anyone's in any doubt as to the value of Wendell Carter Jr. to this team, those doubts should have been erased in the last 2 games against Detroit and Washington, because I think it's been blatantly obvious that Wendell brings the toughness, the physicality that's missing when he's not there. So the game against Detroit on Sunday, it was one of those where you could look at it one of 2 ways going into it. If you were a pessimistic person, you've got the worst team in the league, which is us, versus the second worst team in Detroit. You might get a game that's not for the basketball purist. On the other hand, you may get to see a game where you'll get to see Franz Wagner and Cade Cunningham go at it, battle of the rookies, and that could have been very, very interesting. Unfortunately, the game was actually the former. It was absolutely dreadful. Fair play to Detroit. They won 97-92. But the real action for Detroit, the real star was Trey Lyles, who went off from the bench with 16 points and 13 rebounds, just seemed to have his way. Wagner had probably his most disappointing game in a while, since he put up 0. And then he's been on this streak since then, and the streak ended of scoring in double digits. And he didn't quite manage it. He got 9 points, which by Franz's standards that he set is disappointing. But, he's a kid and he's going to have these off nights and every rookie hits walls. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I am concerned when I look at the field goal percentage, which was under 34% shooting, which was awful. And then when you look at the box score of the game, I think it tells its own story when you can see players who I think, they are still learning and they're not being helped by COVID, injury, who's there, who's not. But it's a little bit disappointing to see some of the statistics from the likes of Mo Bamba and RJ Hampton, Chuma Okeke. Chuma did get 10 boards, which we will come on to because I think that was quite significant. But we do need a little bit more offensively from these young players. But there is a theme here of getting out rebounded, and it was it's quite a tight game. And I think getting out rebounded 49-44, Chuma's chipped in with 10 of those for Orlando. Fair play. His shot wasn't going down, but he was finding other ways to contribute. But, you get those rebounds and you probably win the game. So the presence of Wendell Carter Jr. was absolutely missed there. So that then turns into it's like a back-to-back. And you've essentially got, by the way, when I say Sunday, I'm saying that as someone in the UK. You've got the Wizards and the Magic then play within 24 hours back in Orlando, and Washington wins this 102-100. Again, there's no Wendell Carter Jr. Orlando's obviously playing without the forever injured at the minute, Markel and Jonathan Isaac and Jalen Suggs, but a little bit unlucky. But when you look at the rebounding stats, Washington are coming out of this with 54 rebounds to 42 for Orlando. And Kyle Kuzma, who, he's a good NBA player, but he's not a superstar. Puts up this 27 points, 22 rebounds performance. Like, I would put Kuzma on like an Aaron Gordon style level. He's like your fourth person on a really good team, and to be able to pull for him to get 22 rebounds tells its own tale. It really does. And when Wendell Carter Jr. is not there, when the big body of Robin Lopez isn't there, you've got to question the toughness of the Magic in the paint. And that's not being harsh, but that discrepancy really is what's cost Orlando the game. Franz again didn't have a great night, but it happens with rookies and young players. And Cole Anthony's is back in the lineup, and Cole's going through a little bit of a sticky patch as well. I think maybe he's taking too much on, or trying to drag Orlando out of this himself. But his shooting was like 4 for 17, and that's something Cole had like moved past a lot this season. So it felt as though it was like almost back in the rookie year. Maybe this is a young player, second year player who's just trying to take on a little bit too much, or perhaps just isn't quite healthy yet. But it wasn't Cole's greatest game, but he's entitled to that, just like Franz Wagner, because they've had the Magic on their back a lot this season. So it's a pretty tough time if you're a Magic fan right now, because you're kind of looking at where will the next win come from. Washington do seem to kind of have their way with it, but this was without Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell will be back when the Magic play the Wizards again later tomorrow. And that worries me, because if Wendell Carter Jr. is not fit, I really do worry what could happen in that game there. And it is getting to the point where it's quite hard. We will win a game, but it's becoming hard to see where that win's going to come from as it stands. So this brings me to other news that's happened. So Jeff Weltman, John Hammond, the Magic front office essentially have been renewed, and I think this is good news. So there's been a lot of bad news with the losses that are just starting to take that toll on people. But to see Weltman and Hammond renew until through 2026 is, for me, good news. I think they've had a lot more home runs than they've had strikeouts as a front office. Looking at it, the Jalen Suggs pick was a no-brainer. Yeah, there was that element of good fortune involved there. Franz Wagner was a huge home run. The Wendell Carter Jr. contract, which he signed, absolute win for me, absolute bargain. Getting Cole Anthony with the 15th pick, getting Chuma Okeke, there's a lot to unlock with Chuma. Yeah, I would like to see Chuma getting back to where he was towards the end of last season. He's not just a spot up three guy. He's got a lot more to his game, as we've seen when the three's not falling. There's something's happened with that shot, but I think it's become more pronounced this season. I would like to see him getting more into the paint. Maybe he's playing with his back to the basket a little bit more. But they did pick Chuma up with the 16th pick. The Markel Fultz trade was an absolute steal, giving up Jonathan Simmons, and even like bringing in James Ennis. Orlando's still trying to, when Ennis was brought in, trying to just stay relevant in the playoffs in an injury crisis. And Ennis was like an inspired veteran signing for me. You could look and say the Vucevic trade ended up being a win for both teams. I think the Denver trade probably I would favour Orlando when you take into the recent form of Gary Harris, which has been superb after a bad start of the season. And really, you're looking at it, and I'm saying, well, what's been their worst move? And it's possibly, it's maybe harsh, drafting Mo Bamba where they did. And you could even make the argument for Bamba and say, well, he might be 4 years into the league, but through games played and through injury, maybe he's really only somewhere in his second year. We don't know yet. So it's still a wait and see on Bamba. But I'd like to see a little bit more physicality from Mo, but I think that's a really good positive move for Magic fans. I'm personally delighted when I saw that, because I'm more than happy with the job that the front office are doing, especially in drafts. But more news came out, and the news came out, it was regarding Markel Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and Jalen Suggs, and it's news, but it's typically vague news when it does come from the Orlando front office. So Markel is practicing with Lakeland. You've got to think a return for Markel is close now. I think it's got to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's due. And the Magic, look at look, I know we're not Golden State, we're the furthest thing from it, but the Klay Thompson um, lift that came in there, and the lovely welcome back for him, which is thoroughly deserved. But it gave the Golden State fans just another lift, and I think the Magic fans need some type of lift. And seeing Markel Fultz coming back, he's a loved player by Magic fans, would be maybe something that can lift this cloud that's hanging with the record over people at the minute. Jalen Suggs has been mentored. I think we'll see Suggs back by the All-Star break. If I was taking a guess, I would hope that we'd see Suggs by then. It's a little bit more vague on Jonathan Isaac, and I get the impression it's still a way off, which is quite worrying because we're starting to really get close to 18 months now since Isaac was injured, and seeing Klay Thompson out there on the court, GI still not there. Is it uber caution? Perhaps. And I understand that, Orlando aren't going to get into the play-in this year. We're not going to get into the playoffs. So maybe it'll be a case of just take the ultimate precaution with Isaac, and we might see him towards the end of the season, getting, some light minutes just to get him ready for next season. Maybe that is the view. But I think after, two really hard to take defeats, which they were, and this losing streak, which is at 9 games now, it's pretty grim. If you're in some sections of the Magic fan base, I can sense the frustration. I'm one of them. I don't like losing games, but the front office renewing their contracts and hopefully getting to see Markel in the next couple of weeks might lift a little bit of that cloud. So that's the first thing. So next up, I'm going to share the screen. There was a Top Shot drop tonight, and we're just going to rip some packs to see what I've pulled, really, and then maybe I'll jump into the marketplace. So you'll see here then, I haven't opened my flash challenges yet. I'm going to hold off on that, but I did manage to complete the Obi Toppin one and the Claxton one from the Nets, the Claxton, but I didn't really receive my Dapper reward for that, so I'm a little bit miffed about where that's at. But we've got a hustle and show drops happened. I've managed to snag 4 packs for this. I would like to see some type of Miles Bridges pull, I think, if you were asking me to pick a card here. But more than anything, if I can get some type of rookie, that would be great. So let's see what we've got. So I'm told there's 5 cards. I thought it was 4 cards, so a little bit of a bonus. Let's see, is there any hint whatsoever? Okay, we'll start with this one. So common, Bryn Forbes. Hopefully this will get me something on one of those flash challenges. So it's a decent moment. So what's next? Common, it's a dunk. Malik Monk. And it's his hustle and show moment. So I've got a Malik Monk one. Let's have a look at this. Malik Monk's always one of those players that I used to always sign for the Magic when I was playing 2K. I did notice, by the way, after I mentioned in the previous video about LeBron and his mean mug and taunting players, that after the Lakers were taking a pounding off the Memphis Grizzlies, who were banging form at the minute, LeBron was complaining about people trash talking. I did say that was going to come back around LeBron. And it looks like it came back a little bit quicker than we thought. And I hate to see that because I like LeBron James, but don't think he needs to do the trash talk. Eric Gordon. I think Houston's going to be high in the lottery again. It's nice. He's a good vet, Eric Gordon. He'll end up on hopefully a playoff team or something at some point. But I think Houston's going to feature quite prominently in the lottery. I've got a dunk. I think if it had been Davis Bertans, I might have just had to throw that out after the other night. He was really annoying when playing the Magic. Some big hops there from Denny Avdia. Okay. And last one, Chris Paul. One of Johnny's favourite players. Some handles from CP3. Nice. It's overhead. Anthony Davis. Not the best season so far for AD. So, any great serial numbers in there? Not really. Open the next pack. Let's see what I've got. I'm really. Let's just see. Let's see what comes through. So we'll start the last one at the end. It's a dunk. It's Paul Millsap. Oh, and the Magic trying to sign him. Feels like he's been around forever. He's just outpacing DJ there. DJ Augustin, another former Magic player. Yeah, that's pretty much hustle. Good career for Paul Millsap. Quite a likable player. We've got a dunk. Damian Jones. I had this last time, so I'm not gonna stick on with it. Got a Grizzly. Dylan Brooks. Seem to be attracting a bit of Dylan Brooks at the minute. He's banging form. It's a nice serial number as well. So is this my hustle and show? Is this my hustle and show moment? Oh, look at that. I like that. So yeah, that was my hustle and show one. Not a bad serial number. Garrison Matthews, he's been balling out for the Rockets. Oh, Cole. I would have liked that jersey a lot more if they could have had some type of like Houston logo on the front, like a rocket or something. Just seems to fit with that. And we've got PJ Washington. I seem to be getting quite a lot of Hornets as well. Charlotte's becoming like a really trendy team, by the way. And it's really just, I think a lot of it's down to LaMelo Ball. Oh, look at that. Great pass. I like that. Good moment. Got a soft spot for the Hornets. That's kind of why I want the Miles Bridges one. But yeah, we'll take that. Okay, well, there's no rhyme or reason where this card's located in the pack, so we'll just start in the middle and see what happens. That's another Dylan Brooks. Told you I'm becoming like a magnet for Dylan Brooks. We know what it is. So I'll be flogging one of those in the marketplace next. See what we've got. 3-pointer, Harrison Barnes. He's done a good job for my fantasy team in fantasy basketball this year. He's big on Top Shot. Nice. I like Harrison Barnes. Got some handles. Aaron Holiday. This is just prepping me for the Wizards to beat Orlando again. So, yeah, nice. That was a nice serial number, by the way, low key for Harrison Barnes. Not too bad. Pascal, Spicy P. Yeah, straight down the middle. I like that. Freight train, and it's on KD. KD gets up, but it's not enough. It's not enough. It's more Sacramento Kings. Alex Len, the man, the myth, the legend. Big rig just going down there. Nasty. Nasty. And this is my fourth pack. So will I get a rookie or a Miles Bridges in here? Let's have a look. It's a dunk. It's John Collins. Apparently, he's once again not happy in Atlanta. The way the Hawks season's going, you've been my biggest letdown on my predictions, Atlanta. You and the Lakers. Yeah, I wouldn't be totally surprised if something happened there. Actually, I would not be totally surprised. Oh, I've got another Malik Monk. So I'm going to be selling two of my moments. I'm not going to look at that. One of them's getting sold each. Kenyon Martin, not too bad a serial number. Nasty finish. Shades of his dad. Just seen that from Alex Len, so that's going to be getting peddled. And Trey Burke. Not a bad serial. Okay. So see what my progress was like before we call this a day. Bit disappointing with to get 2 duplicates in the Hustling show. But it is what it is. Can't win them all. Still living off my my Evan Mobley pull. So I hope it's a good week for anybody who's watching this. If you do like it and you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. If you've got any comments, particularly if you're an Orlando Magic fan, would love to hear from you. Have a great, safe week, and let's hope we can somehow get out of this COVID situation that's engulfing the world at the minute. Take it easy. Thanks. Good night.